הם מחכים לנו, הם לא ידעו מה לעשות.
כן, טוב שהתקשרת.
ethnic groups, they share some language actually. So religion, actually, when we get back to religion, we have like there's one main religion which is called Christianity. There are about 65% of the population is Christian, and 33% is Muslim, and the rest 2% is what we call them is animist or like traditional believers. So here in Ethiopia, Ethiopia is actually today we are actually hosting or like presenting this Zoom meetings actually on a special day. Today is like Ethiopia is the only uncolonized country actually in Africa. So we are like celebrating 125th the victory of Adwa. Actually, there was a war between Ethiopia and Italy 125 years ago. So this is a date. It's a special day here in Ethiopia. So we are celebrating that actually. So when we get back to generally like tourism in Ethiopia is like 10, 15 years. It wasn't like well like introduced or well promoted actually. But nowadays, after 10, 5 years, uh, some like individuals, let's say individual tourism tour owners like our company like Eclipse Ethiopia or some other like tour companies, they're promoting like individual. But currently the government, the current governor is like paying attention actually for this smokeless industry. So for this reason, they're like right now they're building a lot of stuffs like especially in Addis and out of Addis, they are like building several stuffs actually. So in general, I'm gonna give you just I'm giving you the highlights of the country in general. So but the rest on the whole details actually our guide Mulugeta will give you the whole details actually about the country, about the central part, I mean the capital of Ethiopia, which is called Addis, and the northern part of Ethiopia. He will give you the whole details, and then finally I will get back with the conclusion. So Mulugeta will start the whole detail.
Mulu?
Yes, thank you everyone for this opportunity. And as my colleague mentioned, Ethiopia is different with variety of things. The first thing what makes Ethiopia different is the only uncolonized country. So Ethiopia has its own calendar. Also, Ethiopia is the origin place of coffee. And in Ethiopia, you can find different ethnic groups and with different traditions, also with different language. And Ethiopia is also well known for the origin place of coffee. Coffee is discovered in Ethiopia. And 70% of African mountain is found in Ethiopia, 70%. As my colleague mentioned, the highest point is Ras Dashen, which is 4,600 meter above sea level, and the lowest is in the northeast part of Ethiopia, which is the hottest place on Earth. And Ethiopia is the fourth in the world with biodiversity. We have a lot of plants, animals, because Ethiopia has a lot of background in geography, so it has a lot of biodiversity. And Addis is founded by Emperor Menelik in 1887, and the population number of Addis nowadays is close to 10 million. And Addis is the headquarter for African Union because of Ethiopia is the only uncolonized country. So Emperor Haile Selassie, the one who contributed this rule, so this Addis Ababa become the headquarter for African Union. Also, in Addis, there is the headquarter for Economic Commission for Africa. So the population number is growing through time. Nowadays, it's close to 10 million, and you can find a lot of ethnic groups, 85 ethnic groups you can find in Addis. And also, Addis is the place where you can see the paradox of rich people, also poor people. And the square kilometer of Addis is close to 565 square kilometer. And this is Mercato, the biggest open market in Africa. And in Mercato, there are about 70,000 shops and 40,000 employees. And in Mercato, you can find everything. And there are sections in Mercato. There are section for spices. There is section for clothes. There is also section for frankincense, clothes, and different things. Mercato is close to 6 kilometers square, which is the open and the biggest open market in Africa. And this section is called "What Do You Have?" It's about recycling. So all the jerrycans is imported from, most of them is from Saudi and from different Arabian country, and we import a lot of palm oil and different oils. And after we use the oils, we recycle the cans, jerrycans. And most of the people use the jerrycans to collect water from the rivers, from the springs, and from different places. So this is the biggest recycle section in Addis or in Ethiopia, which is found in Mercato. And the name of this street is called "What Do You Have?" So if you have like old pots, old jerrycans, and everything has its own value. So this is one of the most important section. And in Mercato, most of the thing is like vegetables, spices, things like that grow in Ethiopia. But the other like clothes, machineries is imported. And this is also one of the street or the section in Mercato is called the basket section. And most of the people who make this basket is came from the eastern part of Ethiopia. Also, the east part of Ethiopia is well known by making different baskets. And the best season to make basket is October because our rainy season is June, July, August. And after September, there is a lot of grasses people collect from the forest and they make baskets. And also, we use baskets to store injera. Injera is our traditional food, also to store bread and for different activities. So this is also one of the most interesting section in Mercato. So in Mercato, you can see the real life of Ethiopia because there are about 85 ethnic groups came from different parts of the country. And this is the place where they make buying and selling. So this is the hub of trade in Ethiopia. So this is very, very important area in Ethiopia. And this place is founded by Italians in the Second World War time. And this is the market for the local people. And here, as you see, people are carrying firewood. And this place is found in Mtoto, which is the highest point in Addis Ababa, which is 2,900 meters above sea level. And this place, our famous athletes, early in the morning, they make exercise, running, and things like that. And here is people are collecting firewood because in Ethiopia we have a problem of electricity. So these people are collecting firewood for cooking. Also, some of them they sell this firewood. The price of this firewood is between $7 up to $10. So this is the daily activity. So they went to the forest and they collect dead branch from eucalyptus wood. And this eucalyptus wood came from Australia at the time of Emperor Menelik in 1885. And originally, the job is left for women. So these ethnic groups came from the southern part of Ethiopia. So according to the Dorze tribe, the name of the tribe is called Dorze. So the more she's stronger, the more she's beautiful. So this is the way people live in the southern part of Addis in Toto. And this is how they cover their school and also for daily food. And once I tried to carry this firewood, and it's very, very heavy and difficult one. And this is one of the most well-known synagogue in Addis. And originally, the owner of this synagogue came from Yemen, from Sina. So he came between 1950 up to 1970 at the time of Emperor Haile Selassie. And he was like one of the well-known trader in Addis, and they engaged in trade activity in the eastern part of Ethiopia, also in Addis. And during the time of Mengistu, which is one of the communist time in Ethiopia, so when the military junta took the power, the Yemeni Jewish people left this place, and nowadays there are about 15 or 25 Yemeni Jewish who live in Addis. But in the time of between 1950 and 1970, there are about 500 Jewish came from Yemen. And this is the picture is from the northern part of Ethiopia. In Ethiopia, the local name is Falashmura or Jewish. And on this topic, when we spoke about Gondar, I will speak about the Jewish people about Ethiopia. But the only Jewish, the foreigner Jews came from Yemeni, used to live in Addis. But the well-known place for Ethiopian Jewish is in the northern part of Ethiopia. The place is called Gondar. And here you can see our traditional dress made from cotton. Cotton is one of the most important export in Ethiopia. And cotton grow in the east, in the west part of Ethiopia. And most of the clothes is made up of cotton. And this is one of the wedding in Ethiopia. We have 4 kinds of wedding. The first one is whenever they fall in love each other, they can marry. The second one is assigned by the family. And the third one is when older brother die, the younger represent. And this is from the southern part of Ethiopia. And the other is very, very rare. Also, it's against the constitution. So let's say they fall in love each other and they inform their family. But when they try, the family say no. So the husband, what he tried to do is kidnap her and went to very far from the area and start to negotiate. So this is our traditional food. There is a pancake is called in.
Mulu, can I just say something? There is some noise or from the phone or from the headphones, perhaps that it's a little bit moving. Can you try just to reduce it? Oh God, did we lose him? Mulu?
Yes, yes.
Sorry, I thought we lost you. Okay. No, just I'm saying there is this like small noise that interrupts with your voice. Maybe it's the headphones moving or something. I don't know. Just okay. Just
okay.
Just yeah, okay. That's the headphone. Okay. So, just if they cannot move. Okay. Sorry. Go on. Go on.
Okay. So this is the way of eating in Ethiopia. Most of the time we use our hand to eat, and feeding each other is our customs. The more you respect someone, you feed by using hand. And this is one of the biggest church in Addis, is the Holy Trinity Cathedral. And this church built during the time of Emperor Haile Selassie, which is 1944. And after the invasion of Italy, and this is the commemoration of the people who lost their life. So what makes this church special is this is the burial place for Emperor Haile Selassie, or the mausoleum for Emperor Haile Selassie, and which is the most important place for the Rastafarians, especially people came from Jamaica, because the Rastafarians consider Emperor Haile Selassie as a messiah. Also, this church is decorated with mosaic glass artists and done by one of the famous artists is called Afolk the Clay. So this is one of the iconic symbol in Addis and also open for visitors. And Ethiopia is one of the oldest country in the world because of the old hominid discovered in Ethiopia. And this is Lucy, discovered by Donald Johanson in 1975. And the name Lucy's came from the beach.
Mulu? Mulu?
No connection.
I'll give it another minute. This will be a good time to say that Ethiopia has connectivity issues even these days, and sometimes we can feel it. But I think we got it back. We got him back. Mulu? No. Daniel? Daniel?
So we have to say that Ethiopia is not Swiss.
Yeah.
It's not Europe.
Okay, it's not.
It's Africa.
Okay, I should just say that we did a rehearsal a few days ago, and to get the best connectivity, the best internet connectivity, Daniel and Mulu had to go to a 5-star hotel because they had the best internet connectivity that they can connect with us. And today the connectivity, even in the hotel, was down. So they had to find a new place. But that's the challenges. And if to be honest, this is what I liked about Ethiopia, the fact that it's not Europe. And it's very, very different and very unique. And probably within a few years, it will look more and more, maybe not few years, but it will look more and more like other places in the world. But Danny, I think, Danielle, are you with us? Okay, I think, Danny, maybe you should continue instead of Danielle and Mulu, and hopefully they will be able to connect.
1 minute, I will try to call him 1 minute, okay?
Okay. Okay, so in the meantime, I'll just put our Facebook. Mulu is back. Hi, Mulu.
I'm back.
We're good.
Sorry, it's raining outside, and there is a shortage of power.
Raining?
Sorry. Yeah, it's raining. That's right.
Okay, great. Okay, right. Good.
So this is Lucy, one of the ancient hominid discovered in the eastern part of Ethiopia, and it's found on the National Museum of Ethiopia. And the National Museum of Ethiopia is the place where you can see the base paleontological collection in Horn of Africa. And there are hominids very older than Lucy, but the oldest discovery is close to 10 million years old.
Hope so.
Mulu?
Yes.
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, now we are flying to Lake Tana.
Lake Tana, yeah. So in Addis, what it takes is the most, Mercato is one of the ideal place to visit in Addis, and the next, the National Museum, where you can see Lucy and Trinity. And the next day flight to Bahar Dar or Lake Tana, which is 565 kilometers away from Addis, and there are daily flights from Addis to Bahar Dar. And this is the biggest lake in Ethiopia. It's called Lake Tana, and it's the source for Blue Nile River. And Lake Tana is 3,300 square kilometers. And next to the lake, there is the most beautiful city in Ethiopia. It's called Bahar Dar. And the second biggest city next to Addis is Bahar Dar. Also, as Addis, in Bahar Dar, there is a big market. And there are monasteries, close to 37, but 20 of them are very ancient monasteries. And to go there, most of the time we use local boats. And these churches are well known by painting. So the churches are from the 14th century up to the 16th century AD. So most of the Blue Nile River came from this lake. And the longest river started from this lake. So Lake Tana is very important both for Ethiopia, also for Egypt. And there are about 17 species of fish, but the well-known is tilapia. So people from this area are Christian, and this is the center for Amhara people. Amhara is the second biggest ethnic group in Ethiopia next to Oromo. So this is one of the most important historical area. Also, it's important. This is the local people, and most of them, they carry firewood from the monasteries and they sell to the market in Bahar Dar. And the boat is made out of papyrus. Also, the fishermen, every day they use these kinds of boats. So Lake Tana is very, very important. And the most important fauna and flora of Lake Tana is, in Ethiopia, we have more than 926 species of birds. And in Lake Tana, it's possible to see different aquatic birds like pelican. Also, you can see marabou stork and different aquatic birds. So this is also a good place to visit birds. And also in Bahar Dar, there is a big market. It's well known for basket. So some of the people made this basket at home and they sell it for a market. Even children from the early age, they try to practice how to make a basket. So in Bahar Dar also, one of the most colorful areas to visit this basket market. Yeah. And this is Gondar. Gondar is a 4-hour driving from Bahar Dar, and which is located 700 kilometers north of Addis, and it's 165 kilometers away from Bahar Dar. And this is a camelot city, African camelot, and established in 1632 by Emperor Fasilides. And this is Renaissance of Ethiopia. It's a medieval castles. And also Gondar is a very important area for reborning of knowledge. And you can find this, the royal enclosure is about 70,000 square meter. And you can find this palaces belongs to different governors. It's a kind of family. And the biggest is for Emperor Fasilides. And when they build the palace, also they build a secretarial house, also a place for musicians. Also, there is a spa for the royal family. So it's a medieval palace, and you don't find in the 17th century, you don't find anything similar like this in sub-Saharan African country. And also the architecture is, it's a vernacular architectural style mixed between Portuguese, also Aksumite and Gondarian. And what makes Gondar very important is because of this is the biggest Jewish community who live in Gondar. And there are about 4,000 Jewish people live in Gondar. Also, the last village for the Jewish people is found in Gondar. And this is one of the synagogue in Gondar. And every day there is a religious practice. So from 94 up to 1990, there is for the Falashmuda or the Black Jewish from Ethiopia to Israel. The first is Operation Moses. So it succeeded to take about 7,000, and the second is Joshua. They are able to take about 500, and this last one is in 1990, and 16,000 Jewish people left from Addis to Israel. And these are 3,000. They are waiting for a process to go to the Holy Land in Israel or Jerusalem. So this is also this is a very interesting place to visit. Also the paradox between Christianity and also Jewish. And this is one of the accommodation belongs to Haile Gebrselassie, one of the famous athletes. And also there is a good place in the top of the mountain is called Goha. It's the oldest accommodation in Gondar. And this is an ideal place to stay, to have a panoramic view of Gondar, because there is surrounded by mountains, and this hotel is located in one of the mountains in Gondar. And teff is the indigenous plant in Ethiopia. Coffee is discovered in the west. Also, teff is discovered. Teff grow in different parts of the country, and teff grow only in Ethiopia. And it's one of the superfood in Ethiopia. Everywhere you go, people use teff. This is the plant, and after this is after they harvest the plant, and this is the process how to thresh the teff. In Ethiopia, we don't have such mechanized farmers, so we use plowing by using oxes. And this is the job for a man, and the woman, she prepare food for the husband. And this is one of the species of teff. And this is red one, a mix between red. And what makes teff a superfood is it's gluten-free. So after you make a powder, fermented for 3 days, and bake it on the plate. And this is the job for a woman. This is once you prepare injera, it can stay for 3 days. And after that, you can use different sauces. And in Ethiopia, there are about, especially in Orthodox Church, out of 365 days, 255 is fasting, so only vegan food. So this is a typical pancake in Ethiopia. It's called injera, made out of teff. So it's a superfood, gluten-free, and this is the place where you can eat teff. Yeah. Nowadays, it's become also one of the exported. And from Gondar, north of Gondar, there is the Simeon Mountain National Park, which is one of the UNESCO heritage site. And it's 90 kilometers away from Gondar, and it's about 2-hour driving. And this is one of the highlight of Ethiopia. And according to Herodotus, he described this place as a playground of God. And the scenery is you don't find anywhere else in the world these kinds of scenery, because these mountains are created with erosion back from 40 million years ago. And in this area, it's possible to see different wildlife. And Glada baboon, they are very close to monkey. You don't find them anywhere else in the world. They are endemic for the Simien Mountain, also for Ethiopia. Also, Mountain Niala, you don't find anywhere else in the world. Also, one of the most endangered animals is called the Ethiopian wolf. It's also possible to visit those things in Simien Mountain. Also, this place is ideal place for hikers, trekking, and this is the highest point in Ethiopia. And this, the nickname for Ethiopia is the water tower of Africa because of these mountains. And we get most of the rivers from Simien Mountain feed the Blue Nile. And this is the Amhara people who live in the northern side of Ethiopia. Simien Mountain belongs to the Amhara region. And this is one of, yeah, this is a shepherd playing flute. So in Ethiopia, there is a job division between man and woman. And the responsibility for a man is herding animals, also agriculture, building house, things like that. And the job for women is collecting firewood, cleaning houses, also giving food for husband. So this is one of the shepherd in the northern part of Ethiopia. So Aksum which is north of Gondar, and this is 1,000 kilometers away from Addis. And this is the most important site in Ethiopia. And this is where everything started. And Aksum Emperor, the Aksumite Empire was one of the biggest empire in the world. And they are well known for the trade. And this kingdom lies between the Ottoman Turkey and also with Rome, with Persian and Roman Empire. And this is the fourth biggest kingdom in the world. And this is between the 1st century AD and 10th century AD. And Aksum is well known by building stele for burial place, steles for the royal family. And this stele is made out of granite. And this is the biggest monolithic structure ever built by human being. And the biggest is 520 ton, and the rest is 160 and 170. And this is a mark for kings. And underneath the obelisk, it's possible to see burial chambers. So let's say if the obelisk has 9 windows and doors, you can find 9 burial chambers underneath. And those are burial places for the king and for royal family. Also, they used to believe days after life. So they bury their belonging also with family. And this is before the Aksumite accept Christianity. And what makes Aksum also special, this Christianity become official religion in the 4th century AD. And the first country in the world is Armenia, and next to Armenia, the Aksumite is make Christianity as official religion. So this is one of the stairways to the tomb or to the burial chambers in Aksum. Also, Aksum is the holy city. Yeah, these are the burial chambers under the obelisks. And Aksum, the nickname for Aksum is the hidden treasure for Ethiopia. And this empire is well known by putting crosses on their gold coin. And this is the only empire in the world, or the first empire to make gold coins and with the cross marks. And this is one of the biggest celebration in Ethiopia. And January 19, it's to commemorate the birth of the baptize of Jesus Christ. So all churches carry the replica of the Ark of the Covenant. And Aksum is the final resting place for the Table of Moses or the Ark of the Covenant. So in Ethiopia, we believe King of Sheba brought the Ark from Israel to Ethiopia at the time of King Solomon. And this is one of the biggest celebration. And so in this day, what they do, they wear very special dresses, and everybody dressed up, and the priestess, they carried the replica of the ark from the churches, and they went out to the baptizing place. So this is one of the biggest Christian celebration in Ethiopia, and Aksum is well known for this celebration because the Ark of the Covenant, or the Table of Moses, which contains the Ten Commandments, is found in Aksum. And in Ethiopian history, every priest, every king is to become a king, they have to go to Aksum and baptized and coronated. And this is the special dress for the priestess. So in Timkat, it's not only religious celebration, also it's cultural. So everybody must dress up very well. And in the first day, all churches carry replica and they went to the baptized place. So this is the singing and the dancing. So in the next day, in the morning, there is a baptized and everybody go back to the church. But during this time, this is the place where you can get the future husband and wife. So when boys see the most beautiful woman, we throw lemon. And if she picked, that means she accepts. So it has also some cultural, and also the main is religious value. So Aksum is well known for this celebration. And this is a traditional drum and play at the time of Tukat. So Aksum is one of the holiest places. So as you see, everybody dressed up very well in Tukat, and everybody must be smiling face. So in Timkat is very, very special and the most colorful. So it celebrates everywhere in Ethiopia, but Aksum is different because of the Ark of the Covenant. And this is one of the biggest in Aksum. Yeah. So we have the story how the Ark of the Covenant came from Israel to Ethiopia. The first is Queen of Sheba. She has a baby from Solomon. His name is Menelik. So he brought the Ark from Israel to Ethiopia. And this is one of the biggest highlight of Ethiopia. This is the rock-hewn church of King Lalibela. So after the downfall of the Aksumite dynasty, the capital shift from Aksum to Lalibela. And this place is well known by rock-hewn churches built out of rock. And we have three kinds of rock-hewn church. The first is monolithic, means freestanding. So the whole part of the church is standing free. The second one is called semi-monolithic. Some of the sides are attached with the mother rock, but some of them are disattached. And the third one is churches. So in Ethiopia, there are about 105 rock-hewn churches, but this is one of the famous. And the nickname for Lalibela is the second Jerusalem. And in Lalibela, you can find two clusters. And the first cluster is to represent Jerusalem. And the second cluster is to represent heaven. And there is a place representing Mount Olive. There is a place representing River Jordan. There is the place representing Golgotha. So it's the ambition of the king is to build the second Jerusalem in Africa, because before he built these churches, there is a tradition to go to Israel as a pilgrim. But during the 12th century AD, there is a Crusader war. And there are about 11 rock-hewn churches interconnected with tunnel. And this is the biggest monolithic structure in the world. It's called Beit Madhanielem. And this is the interior part of the church. So what makes Lalibela different is built during the 12th century, but still the churches are active. Still there is a service on the churches. Every day there is a service. And this is how priests sing on special days. In Ethiopian Orthodox churches, we have different calendar. We have 13 menses, and also we have in every days there is a celebration. Let's say today is a celebration day for Saint Mary, and there is a special service on special churches. And this is one of the celebration for one of the saint day. So this is the way they stand and they sing, and this is the exterior part of Beit Madhania. Yeah. And every churches used to be interconnected with tunnels. So this is dug out from, excavated from one rock. And this is one of the example is called semi-monolithic. And this is from the second group, and this is the group that represents Jerusalem. And this is the place where you can find Mount Olive. And churches, the clusters divided by 25 by 25. And in the middle, there is a river called River Jordan. And the reason why the King Lalibela make it 11 is to indicate the 10 commandments and also the God. So this is one of the ideal and special place in Ethiopia, the place where you can see the living rock. And this is from the second book. And also the architectural style of Aksum is the architectural style of Lalibela came from Aksum. As you see in the entrance, like the windows, the other part is typical like Aksumite architectural style. And this is one of Lalibela is well known by accommodation. The place accommodation in Ethiopia you can find in Lalibela, and Lalibela is depending on tourism, and most of the hotels are amazing sceneries and also base service. And this is one of the accommodation in Lalibela. Lalibela, yeah. And Ethiopia is the place. The people is smiling, the most friendly people you find, because Ethiopia is the only uncolonized country in Africa. So when strangers came to the country, everybody tried to appreciate the culture, try to show the culture, and everywhere you go, you can find these kinds of smiling face. And this is like the highlight for the northern part of Ethiopia. And starting from now, my colleague is going to give you some conclusion about this is just only the northern part of Ethiopia. But when you go to the south, we have also very different ethnic groups, different with dressing style, different with music, different with the way they live. And most of the tribe lives in Omo Valley, and their life is highly based on pastoralism. So the north and the southern part of Ethiopia is completely different. It feels like two countries in one place. So like one trip into two countries. So this is a special dressing style from the southern part of Ethiopia, and this tribe is called the Hammer. And they are pastoralists. They move from place to place, and they have very different dressing style, different culture, different wedding style, comparing with the people who live in the northern part of Ethiopia. Yeah. Also, these people, especially the tribes who live in the south, they are well known by putting a plate on the lip. So this is ornamentation to show the beauty. And this is in Ethiopia, three ethnic groups do these kinds of lip plating. And this is a Mursi, one of the smallest ethnic group who live in Mago National Park. And the reason lip plate is to show their maturity. So when she's ready for marriage, she puts a lip plate. So it's a kind of beauty to show her beauty. So we have different culture in Omo Valley. You don't find anything similar like this in other parts of Ethiopia. This is only in Omo Valley. So this is the dressing. Also the houses, as you see, very different. Tukul houses, but here they use grasses and small tukul houses. And the life is highly based on pastoralism. They live with animal. They move from place to place with their cattle. Yeah, and this is one of the tribe in the south. Is called the Kara tribe, and they are well known for their body painting. And this is the hammer, and they have the special ceremony. It's called ikuli or jumping at the back of the bulls. Yeah, and in the northern or in the other parts of Ethiopia, only monogamy, one wife or one husband. But in the south, it's very different. The husband, one man can marry more than one wife, depending on the number of the cattle, because bride wills is mandatory in Omo Valley. So the hairstyle is, as you see, it's very different from the northern part of Ethiopia. So the Omo Valley is very different, and some of the culture start to disappear because of the modernization. And but it's very unique place. It's a unique among other parts of Africa. Yeah. This is the house in Omo Valley. So as you see, it's a simple house. They use grasses and also rocks to build the houses. And the house is one big house, but there is a division or sections inside the house. Also, there is a place where husband and wife sleep, and there is a section for animals, because animals and people live together in one small house in the southern part of Ethiopia. And the altitude is lowland; it's below 1,000 meters. So most of the people, their life is highly based on cattle, and they have like oxes, sheep, goats, and children and man are responsible to look after their animals. Yeah. So this is one of the village from Omo Valley. I hope we are going to see you soon, and thank you for listening me. And my colleague is going to give you some conclusion about Ethiopia. And thank you for listening.
Hi again, everyone. So here is, I think he gave you, Mulgita gave you the whole detail about the country. In general, actually, when you come to Ethiopia, I mean, you can spend like months. I mean, like some people, they come, there are some backpackers actually who like spend months, and also yeah, like high end tourism, like they come here. If you want to cover the whole country, like you need like more than 1 month. But now our our highlight was the northern part of Ethiopia, and also but besides the northern part of Ethiopia, there are a lot to see, like Danakil Depression. And when you go to eastern part, there is different culture and different history there as well. Western part of Ethiopia, there are a lot of natures to see there as well. And Omo Valley also, the places, just what you saw, what he briefed to you. So I mean, but hopefully we will see you soon. And if you have any questions and other stuff, and you are more than welcome. Thank you very much for listening us, and hope we'll see you soon in Ethiopia.
Great. Thank you so much, Daniel and Mulu. I think we do have a few questions, so maybe we'll start with Dotan's question. He has some issues with his microphone, so I will ask for him. But just before that, I really want to say also hi to our to few guests that we have. We have Lina from Dubai and Irini from Greece and Shan from Australia, and a lot of people incoming and outgoing tour guides from Israel. So welcome everyone. We're very happy to have you here with us. And Dotan wanted to ask about the languages, because you said that there are few languages in the country. So he was asking if it's similar languages or very different, and how does people communicate between themselves?
Yeah, as we say, like when I give you the highlights of the country, I say like there are about 85 ethnic groups, and there are about 70 languages actually. So there are some language that people they share, like especially in the southern part of the country, there are some tribes who share the language. Uh, but most of them are like when you go to northern part of Ethiopia, it's totally different. In the southern part of Ethiopia, there are about 56 tribes. Each tribes they have their own language actually. Only few of them are they share their language. It's some language very different actually one to other, but some of them are like they're very similar with dialects and it seems like you're hearing the same language, but it's totally different actually. Yeah, their culture as well. When you come to culture, language, it's totally different. And as we try to mention, like when you northern part of Ethiopia and southern, it's totally different. You feel like you're going to a different country when you go to like move to northern part to southern part. It's like you're in another country actually.
Okay, great. Thank you for this answer. I have another question. So the ceremonies that you were mentioning in Aksum and in Lalibela, is it open for tourists? Can a tour guide take a group with him and see those ceremonies?
Sure, sure. That's actually the main thing. I mean, it's originally actually it's for the locals, but anywhere like there is like ceremonies like every day. but these are special days. Like for Epiphany, which is called the Timkat, in Aksum, Lalibela, Gondar, yeah, anyone can attend. Any tourist can attend for this. This is becoming like one of the special thing actually for tourists right now.
Okay, great. Questions from the audience? I'm sure there are questions. Oh, okay, so this is the team and their contacts. Does anyone has other questions?
You have some.
No, Yossi, we can't hear you for some reason.
I'm saying that there is a question in the chat from Allah.
Miss it? Maybe I missed it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I saw. Yeah. When is the best time to visit this? He says. I mean, if you're like, if the question is about the festivals, like January, 19th of January is Timkat, and 7th of January is Christmas, Ethiopian Christmas. This is the best place for Christmas is Lalibela, and the best place for Timkat or Epiphany is Gondar and Aksum, Addis. These three places are the best places.
Okay, great. And there's another questions about the transportation within the country.
Yeah, transportation in the country is like people they take like local. I mean, you mean like about the locals or about the tourists? You mean?
No, about the tourists. We're talking about the tourists, and we're talking about groups. Okay, we're not interested in FIT's transportation.
Okay, so in general, what we do is in the groups, like we use like buses, big buses, like from place to place, but also we take a flight. Like if it is long distance, we take flights. Like Addis to Bahardar, Bahardar to Aksum, Aksum to Lalibela, we take flights. But also, if it is like short distance between, like, let's say, Bahardar to Gondar, Gondar to Simin Mountains, this is like we use buses actually.
So what you're saying is that you cannot cover north of Ethiopia only with buses, or
You can, but the thing is, you can cover by buses, but it takes longer.
okay.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Okay. Other questions?
I have a question. I want to ask you something. If I'm traveling alone to Ethiopia, it's that safe that I go out in the night?
Yeah, it depends. It's actually Ethiopia is known as the safest place in Africa. Actually, I can say so far. But it depends where to go and what time. Actually, you mean if it nightlife is like not, some places are not suggested. Actually, if you have a tour guide with you, it's okay. But it's alone. We don't suggest for the people. I know it's the safest place, Ethiopia, but still, I don't suggest to the tourists to go out by themselves.
Okay, the other things that you just mentioned before, you're talking about there's a many different tribe. Can they get married to each, like a different tribe, they can get married to each other?
Mostly, yeah, they can get they can get married. Actually, there is like clans and tribes. Actually, between clans, some tribes you don't allow to each other. The thing is, when you go to Omo, actually, Mulu will give you the whole details about this. Mulu just answered this.
That's me. I had to go there. Thank you.
Okay.
No, he will.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So it depending on the tribe. In the north, in the east, and in the southern part, in the most of the north, east, and western part of Ethiopia, there is no problem. Intermarriage between different tribes. Also, intermarriage between religions, no problem. Like Christian and Muslim can marry together. But when it came to tribes, it's very, very different, especially in Omo Valley. And if you are not the same ethnic group, the same tribe is not allowed to marry each other. Only few tribes like the Hamar and the Benna, they intermarry each other. If they have similar cultures, they marry each other. Because when someone marry, he have to pay a bride wills, like cattle, between 35 up to 40 cattle. And also you have to give for her family. And they don't want these things to go to the other tribe. So So some of the tribe intermarriage between them is not allowed. But few of them they do. Few of them they do. But in the other parts of Ethiopia, no problem. Only when we talk about tribes, intermarriage is forbidden.
Thank you. We have another question in the chat. Is the Omo Valley tribes villages has connection with modern society? I think we need another Zoom only for the South. I'm just saying.
Yes. Yes.
With the modern society in the day-to-day life. Do they have connection with modern society in the day-to-day life?
Okay. The first time they see like foreigners or locals from other parts of Ethiopia is recent, not more than 15 years. Not more than 15 years. But nowadays, there are a lot of tourists go to the village and they have access also to see their culture also. Most of the time, what we do in the South is sharing culture between tourists and also the locals. In Omo Valley, the people, they don't want to send children to the school. And also when we took tourists, they show them how school is important. So it's a kind of sharing culture between them. And yes, they have access. But few of the locations, they don't have access because there is no road. And most of them, to go to market and or hospitals, they have to walk long distances. But yes, most of them have access for the other world. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Other questions?
Can I ask something?
Ellen? Totally sure.
I just want to ask something. Maybe it's not so connected. I mean, from time to time, we hear about revolutionary forces, war, battles, and stuff like that. How does it, in fact, groups, when you travel, I mean, are they neutralized? I mean, if they will get into something like that, or to hostile villages or whatever, will the tourist will be safe, or you have to plan the tour whenever you hear about fight wars, whatever, rebels, just stay away from the area? Because I think recently there were wars and stuff like that somewhere in Ethiopia, in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? Because we...
Yeah, the question,
I heard.
the question was about...
We didn't, so we'll have to stay on focus, you know.
Okay, the question, thank you, Yossi, it's important. The question was about, basically about the political situation there. Can it be dangerous for groups and tourists, and how can they feel safe in the country?
Okay. Also, this is very important question, because the first thing regarding with tourism is safety. So nowadays, the like 2-3 months ago, there was a war conflict between the central government and regional government in the northern part of Ethiopia, including Aksum. And nowadays, Aksum is not open for visitors because the airport or the groundway is destroyed by the war. But after 2 or 3 months, they are restoring the airport. So, but the other areas, we don't have any issue related with safety, because as you see, most of the sites are in the center, not in the border. Especially like we don't take tourists to the Ogaden region, that is eastern part of Ethiopia, very east side of Ethiopia, very close to Somalia. And also we don't take tourists in the border between Ethiopia and Sudan. But yes, there was a conflict in the north between regional government and central government. And nowadays, Aksum is not open for visitors for a few months because they have to restore the airport. But still, there are tourists in the south, in Lalibela, in Gondar, in Simen Mountain, and different parts of the country. So regarding with safety, there is no problem. Only in this border countries, with the border between Ethiopia and Sudan, the border between Ethiopia and Somalia, we don't take. But it's safe, totally safe.
Danny Hirsten, do you want to add something from our point of view to this?
Yes, I want to add only one thing, that regarding the groups, if we want to bring groups to Ethiopia, we have to know that the size is maximum 20, 25, 24 packs, not more, because of the accommodation and because of the transportation. So if somebody want to organize or think about going with a group to Ethiopian, it's always very small and intimate groups between 20 to 22, 24 maximum. So
But-
it's very important to know.
But can you add something about the security from a tourist point of view?
You know, I traveled in Europe in Ethiopia for 15 years ago, and it was safety. Now for the last year, I don't know because we didn't
Yeah,
have
we
any
didn't go.
chance to go, but it was very safety. But you have to know, as they told us, Daniel and Mulu, you have to stay with the group. You have to stay with your own guide and not to go outside the in the night or to walk in Addis or to Mercato alone. If you are with a group, you are always safety. There is no problem to travel in Ethiopia. In the south, we never have a problem because the south is different than the north. But if you speak about Gondar and Aksum and Addis, it's better to stay always with the group, with the tour leader. So it's 100% safety.
Okay, great. And speaking about the last year, there is a question is here about the Corona situation right now. How is the things right now, and how is it going to look in the next few months? Not sure anyone in the world can say how it's going to look in the next few months, but you know as much as you can.
I will add something more, Dina, to ask them how is the life now in Ethiopia? They stop everything, the flight, the interflight, they continue or not? The children are going to school. Tell something about the situation now in our days.
Thank you.
Okay, just to say something about that. Actually, first a year ago when we heard about the coronavirus, we were like really even the whole population and the government as well. We were scared. So everything was closed actually for, let's say, for a few months, 2 months or something like that. But after that, I mean, we just some people cannot survive even because we just stay at home things and stuff like that. But in Ethiopia, it's very difficult to announce just a stay at home thing because it's people are very poor and stuff like that. But nowadays, after a few months, things are getting much better, and also people are like aware how to prevent themselves, and they're wearing face masks. Everything is open. I can say here in Ethiopia, everything is going on, and even the children are going to school. Of course, like they minimize their capacity. Let's say they used to, let's say they used to, if some school they used to take like 5,000, now they're becoming 2,000. I'm just telling you that there's just by 50%, they deducted the capacity by 50%, and also they're taking the kids to by shift actually, like not every day. Let's say if some kids they go to school today and the others the rest tomorrow. That's how it is. And airports are open, even domestic and international. So things are going okay right now.
And the airport is open? Flights are going in and out, you said?
Sure. Everything,
Yeah.
even international and also domestic.
Okay. More questions? All right. So I'll just ask my last question. Can you say a few words about the general accommodation? Because we saw some very beautiful hotels in the presentation. Is that the normal level of accommodation?
Okay, in Ethiopia, it's depending on where you go. In the Omo Valley, if you travel to Omo Valley, we have like luxury, also mid-level, and also lowest accommodation. And in the Omo Valley, we have like shortage of accommodation, but there is shower, there is electricity, and in let's say to visit the tribes, there is a place is called Turmi. There are 3 hotels, big hotels, and also very nice hotels. But in the northern part of Ethiopia, with standards, very excellent hotels. So the only problem is when you visit Mursi, there is only one resort is called the Eco Omo. So there is a shortage, but the other parts of Ethiopia, you can find very good accommodations. So regarding with accommodations, there is no problem. we have a problem with high seasons. When it's a high season, especially in Omo Valley, there are 3 and 4 accommodations, and sometimes it's very difficult to get room in the lodge. But the northern part of Ethiopia, you can find very excellent accommodations, especially in the south. Except Omo Valley, there is a famous athlete is called Haile, and he got a very excellent accommodations there. So accommodation, no problem.
Okay. Danny, anything to add about that? Be mute. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry. I was muted. Sorry.
No,
So just to add some,
yeah. Please go ahead, Daniel.
just to add something. I mean, like we said, as my colleague Mulu said, there are like excellent places in northern part of Ethiopia and in Addis, right? But this is excellent for Ethiopian standard. Okay, yeah, it's beautiful hotels for us. But of course, when you go to southern part of Ethiopia or eastern part of Ethiopia, you don't expect like 5 stars or something like that. So for the standard, for the Ethiopian standards, in Addis, there is no problem at all. In the northern part of on high peak season is for us is like between October, let's say September to February or January. This is a peak season for tourism. For this reason, like we're booking tours like a year in advance or like a year and a half in advance because of shortage of hotels. In the southern part of Ethiopia, that's even crazy. There are only few lodges in as my colleague mentioned. So that's our problem. But things are getting much better right now. I saw a lot of infrastructures going on, so things will be solved soon, hopefully.
So Ala was asking, for instance, if there is a Wi-Fi in the hotels.
Yeah, that what makes it is even in Omo Valley, even the hotels, even the small hotels right now, there are Wi-Fi. Even like lower class hotels, there is Wi-Fi right now.
Okay. All right. So this is the contacts of Daniel and Danny. So anything you need, guys, with groups, small groups, as Danny said, you're more than welcome to contact any of them. The north is very, very different than the south. Yes.
Dina, just I want to use the opportunity because in the very beginning, I lost the connection because I have the internet not better than Ethiopia, as you know.
Yes, please.
So I want to say, first of all, thank you so much, my friends. Thank you so much that you joined us. And I think we're going to meet you in the second session about the south of Ethiopia. Is it right?
Sure, southern part.
I want to say thank you to Danny. Danny, thank you so much. Danny is a very experienced guy.
Welcome.
This is his destination.
Yeah.
Actually, and to you, Dina. Dina, you are doing again and again. So beautiful presentations. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm enjoying it. Okay, so thank you, everybody, really. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Mulu. And thank you, everyone. And good night, and see you again in our next beautiful destination.
Thank you very much. And yeah, see you next time. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. Bye.
Ciao. All right.
אנחנו נשארים רגע, נכון? כן.
כן.
זהו.
יש את אלה שכנראה משאירים את המסך, הולכים לא יודעת לאן, ונשארים.
למה? לא, אנחנו 5.
בסדר. לא, יונתן ואני זורקים אנשים בסוף, הם לא זורקים את עצמם, בסוף תמיד יש את כמה האלה שאנחנו מעיפים אותם. טוב, נרגעתי, בסדר, נרגעתי.
דינה ודני, אתם בסדר?
אני רוצה להגיד לכם שזה היה מעל ומעבר למצופה. היינו בטוחים שאנחנו